Hey guys, welcome back to the Maple Dude channel. We're gonna show you today part 2 of that video that I did last winter where I installed the tubing system in this woods right here, but I never got to the dry line. That was gonna be a part that I was gonna do later on, but I didn't get to it because of the weather and things like that and running out of time. This winter, I got that going in this system, and if you look over here, we already have that up. And I'm not going to go through that because that was covered in the last video. You just put that up with the wire and tie it up just like the sap line below. Stay tuned. All right, as you can see here, this is the sap line that I installed in part 1 of this video about a year ago. And above it, I've got a wire that I am suspending, and I've already pulled that out. And that is going to be where the dry line or the vacuum line goes. Now, I'm not going to cover this wire because it's exactly the same as the wire below it where the sap line goes. So just go back to that video to see how to install the wire. All right, before we get into the installation of attaching the vacuum line to the sap line, let's just talk a little bit about that vacuum line. So ideally what you're going to want to do when you install this, it's going to be a bit easier if you put this up first, because obviously it's on top of the other line. I had to pull out the wire and pull out the pipe over the top of some of these side ties and stuff like that. So that made it a little bit difficult. If you're gonna do it, ideally do this first. Put it about 1.5 feet above the sap line. And then another thing you can do is just go with the black. You don't have to go with the blue up here. That's my opinion. Some other guys might think otherwise. But go with the black. It's cheaper, so you save yourself some dollars putting that up. But again, it goes up just the same as the other. Of course, the purpose of it is to get vacuum back into the sugar bush, farther back in there to the farther reaches. Because when this sap line under heavy runs gets fuller, there's going to be less space above it for vacuum to travel back into the sugar bush. So this dry line that sits above, that's going to allow that vacuum to transfer back to the further reaches much more effectively, especially when this line is full. And another added benefit of it is when these sap lines could be frozen in spots, this is going to be an extra line for that sap to flow down to the releaser and vacuum pump when your sap lines are frozen before they thaw out. All right, let's get right into this, guys. It's pretty simple. What we need to do is just cut into our vacuum line and install some stainless steel fittings. So right here, this is a 3/4 inch main line, and some of the tools of the trade are, of course, the mainline tool. You've seen me use this in other videos. It's pretty interesting tool. Not always the easiest to use, but it does eventually get the job done. What I'm doing right here, right now, we got a stainless steel 3/4 inch Y. Definitely go with stainless steel. That bites into the tubing much better and holds much better. Now what I'm going to do here is cut out the spot where I want it to go. I'm going to put that in there. You got your tubing cutter. I would recommend getting one of these. Easy to use. Okay, so that gets cut out of there. Put that back in my pocket. Now I'm going to reach for another tool that is very nice to have with this system. And it's this flaring cone. And I know some other people have seen some of my videos and they're like, where did you get that flaring cone? And I've actually sent a few out to these people because they liked it so much. And I will tell you, it is useful. It flares out the ends of this pipe, so it makes the fitting easier to go in there. The stainless steel Y. And again, none of this stuff works super easy, but you gotta have it. So it's got that handle on there so you can kind of keep things going straight. And I just tighten it down until we got that flared out a little bit. See that right there? Okay, so when I got that flared out, I back off. Until we can get that out of there. If you want to do this real according to plan, get your hose clamps, put them on first. So you don't have to do it later. Now, the next thing I would do, I would definitely bring the torch along. So I'm just warming this up a little bit so it goes in there real easy. Got it in there, guys? And the reason I'm going with the Y instead of a T is sap coming down here. If it were to flow up out of here into the dry line, it's not a T coming straight up, less restriction, it can just go. So here we go, watch this. So now, guys, you just put your hose clamps in place. Right on the barbs. Tighten it down real good. In the other video, I was putting double hose clamps on everything. To be totally honest with you, I don't think that's necessary. The way that bites in there, that's not gonna come off. So you can save yourself some cost and some hose clamps that way. All right, guys, now I'm over here on the dry line, the 1-inch black pipe, and I've already got the mainline plier on there. And same thing, we're gonna size this up again and cut into it like that. Let's see. Okay, boom, that comes out of there. Same thing as before. We're gonna flare it a bit. Put your clamps on first, if you can. Now we're gonna put this stainless steel T in there. And this T is a 1-inch on 2 ends, obviously for the 1-inch dry line. And then it's got the 3/4 inch coming off the middle. Got that T in there, and I'm just gonna clamp that with the hose clamps. I went with a 1-inch over a 1-inch, which I think is more than adequate for this situation. Some people would probably tell you to go with like 1 1/4 over that 1-inch. You could. I had a lot of the 1-inch black pipe sitting around, and that's why I used it, and I think it'll be more than fine for this small sugar bush. Of course, slide your wire ties back. Okay, so the final part to this puzzle, and what I did was I heated it already, and you just do the same thing. That one, obviously, you don't use a tool. There's no tool needed. There's no tension on this. So you just cut something to length here. Take a look. To match up, you kind of eye it up, and you get a piece in there that's going to be the conductor, or some people I've heard it called the whip, that takes the vacuum from the vacuum dry line down to your main line. Pushing this one down, guys, into the T. Didn't heat it real well because I'm running out of the propane. But as long as you got it over the barbs, you're good. And we did, thank God. We're out here, it's chilly out. It's only about 14, 15 degrees. And final tightening down with your hose clamp on there. Boom. We got it done, guys. That's the dry line hookup to the main line in your sap collection tubing system. Now we got a true full powered, high horsepower vacuum system going on with the dry line installed. This tubing system in this woods did pretty well last year without it. I was pretty happy with it. This year I'm expecting bigger and better things because we got vacuum going out to the outer reaches of the sugar bush. Now, one thing that you might want to remember, if your main line is over 1,000 feet long, that's when they start recommending putting in the dry line. So that's what you do. It's as simple as that, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. This is the part 2 of my highly popular how to install a tubing maple sap system. You can see that one on YouTube. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, always keep it real.